And her story is incredible. She's 18 months old, so she's almost a toddler now. I don't know where the baby toddler line is, but she's a little girl, cute as can be. And, you know, her parents were in a bad situation. Her mom had a drug problem. Not sure if dad was in the picture. He's not really mentioned, but her aunt and uncle were taking care of her, and she was doing great. And she had her like little cousins, and things were looking out for her. And then the father showed up and decided to sign his custody rights over to his brother. Not sure how much you know about the situation with the brother, but he had a warrant out for his arrest on domestic violence charges on the day that he was given custody of this little girl. So it's obviously a really terrible situation, but the adoptive parents are fighting this, and they're going to court hoping to try to get this overturned because it's one of those things where it's so clear-cut. I think that she had been doing so well. So the petition to save baby Liberty just went up today. It's already taking off. You know, please sign it and please share it. It's a 30-second thing that can be your good deed for the day. So we certainly encourage you to check that out. We would love to get her back to her family by Christmas. I think that's a really great goal to have in mind. Right.
Sorry, we were apparently potentially having technical difficulties. But I think we are good to go now. Yeah? Okay.
Are we rolling?
That's what I was doing. Sorry about that, everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
Other petitions. So a lot of you guys watched us when we were talking about the Clarence Thomas petition. And it's over 8,000 signatures and counting, and it started growing again because it's coming up in Congress.
Yes. And I know Senator now, I guess, Tim Scott from South Carolina made comments about it, and a lot more people are coming out in the works just saying, you know, whether you agree with what Clarence Thomas has done or been accused of or whatever in his lifetime, the man has played an important role in that should be honored in a museum about that culture. So I think it's an interesting topic for sure, and it's definitely coming back in as it gets more and more heat in the news. So yeah, that petition, let me look.
You're going to be hearing more about this because Senator Scott is really putting his money where his mouth is. He is part of a group in Congress that's introduced resolutions in both the House and the Senate that would recognize Justice Thomas's great contributions to American political life and civic culture. For those of you who don't know, he's a Supreme Court justice. He's conservative. Well, he leans conservative as a Supreme Court justice. And he just a few weeks ago celebrated 25 years on the Supreme Court. He's authored over 500 opinions. I mean, that alone, I think, is an incredible achievement. And people in Congress see that too. Now, this is Congress's last week before winter break. They skip town early. They're lucky or unlucky, or kind of slackers, depending on how you think about it. I don't know. But if these resolutions pass this week, as they, you know, hopefully will, I think it's a clear issue. It shouldn't be a very partisan issue.
Hopefully not.
Yep.
You can never tell.
Fingers crossed, although when you say that about Capitol Hill, I think everything is a partisan issue. I think what people drink at happy hour there is a partisan issue. There are like all these unwritten rules that I never learned, but there is a code, so anyhow. We hope this is something that they can agree on and pass this resolution, but stay tuned, you're going to be hearing much more about that petition.
For sure. We have over 8,000 signers, and I just wanted to read, let's see here. I wanted to read a couple of our reasons for signing, just because,
awesome.
You know, with an issue like this, it's always good to see why people are weighing in.
Yeah, and we've gotten really great comments about this one particularly, where people talked about like specific cases that he's ruled on that impacted their lives, or, you know, how they learned about Justice Thomas, because I don't know, I feel like in school you learn a lot about the president and Congress, and Supreme Court is like, oh yeah, there's these 9 people in robes. You don't hear about them all that often, but he's been there for 25 years, and people have really great things to share.
So Cheryl P. wrote that he is an important part of history. There is much to learn from every aspect of his journey to the Supreme Court. trying to wipe out or ignore what shapes our society and how we react to it does an injustice to future generations. Teresa S. said, because Clarence Thomas is an American leader and has accomplished what many strive for, he should be included as an African-American leader. To not do so would be ridiculous. And there's just, I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, over 8,000 people have signed this, so there's a lot of reasons why people have signed. So please, totally, I'm going to actually post the link right now because we didn't get a shorthand on this. And, you know, just sign the petition. Sign the petition, tell us why you are joining with us, and just, you know, share this with your friends, as this story is probably going to be pretty big over the holidays for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be huge, especially since tickets were so limited to get into this museum. It's been tremendously popular. One of my dear friends was able to get in and see it, and I'm so jealous. She says it's an awesome museum, but you have got to really hustle to get a ticket to get in line.
There's like tickets and stuff, even though it's a free museum.
Right, it's just so tremendously popular, and as more people are able to get in and see the museum and realize who's there and who's not there, you know, this issue isn't going away. So this is a chance for you guys to really be ahead of the curve, to tell your friends and family about this. Don't be the person who's talking politics at Christmas dinner. Tell them sometime it's not Christmas dinner, just public service announcement. And a great time to do that is right now. Throw it up on your Facebook page. You will find it on ours in the StandUnited.org comments on this video. Other great petitions to report back on. Oh, the Mrs. Lindsay petition. A lot of you guys might remember the story of Mrs. Lindsay. She's a special needs teacher who was targeted for online harassment. And today, actually, this is coming up, I get the chance to send the petition to her superintendent, who went to bat for her and said that she loves these kids, she loves being an educator, and she's great at her job. She's completely well-meaning. There was just a misunderstanding that was blown up on the internet, and today we get to deliver that. So that's pretty fun. There are over 19,000 of you who signed. So if you are one of them, thank you so much. We're about to do something really cool for someone who you know, could use that support. And if you haven't signed yet, do it now, because we're about to send it. So this is your last chance. Our last hurrah for the Mrs. Lindsay petition. And if you could add yourself to that list, if we could hit 20K, that would be super cool to send to her. She's out in West Virginia, and she's still working with kids. That's, I don't know, I think it takes a really special person to be a teacher, and specifically to work with kids who have special needs, who, you know, need lots of patience and understanding, as do all kids.
And then I think one more that we could talk about really quick is that we have one with a partner, Americans for Tax Reform, which many of you I'm sure have heard of, just for Congress and President-elect Trump to repeal Obamacare within the first 100 days. I know this is a big issue for a lot of people. I know I was just recently talking to my parents, and the premiums because of Obamacare for insurance is just out, you know, through the roof. And I know this affects so many people. I think it's a big reason why Trump was elected to begin with. And so I think it's just really important that he, you know, follow through with one of his many campaign promises to just really help these people that voted for him. So it's actually, if you go to our site, StandUnited.org, it's the first petition you'll see in our header. And totally just sign the petition, say why it's important to you. If you have personal stories about how Obamacare has affected your life, I mean, even if it doesn't affect you personally through your premiums, it's probably affecting one of your friends, your parents. Like in my case, it just affects so many people that it's a really important issue. And I think this is a great time for a lot of people to unite behind these issues and really make sure that, you know, while Republicans have all of the government, that we can really, you know, hold these people accountable to do the things that they said they were going to do.
Yeah, so Donald Trump's actually going to get sworn in on January 20th, I believe. He's getting sworn in on the 20th. And as soon as that happens, he can start the next week getting his people confirmed. And for the Health and Human Services Secretary, he's picked Congressman Tom Price, who, that's been sort of a contentious pick, but he is a doctor. He practiced medicine in Atlanta for almost 20 years. If it sounds like I weirdly know a lot of Tom Price facts, that's because he is the congressman where I come from. But when Congressman Price becomes Secretary Price, when he takes the oath of office, this is your chance to already kind of hold their feet to the fire and say, before you even start your new job, this is what we want to see you do at it. So the holidays are a hectic time for everyone, but particularly in an election year, this is when your 30 seconds that you take to sign a petition is going to have an impact for the next 4 years. So if you have time, and we know you do because you're watching us on Facebook Live, so we know you've got a second to do this, please go over and check out that petition. And also, that's a great one where you can comment about what you would like to see in place of Obamacare.
Yeah.
Repeal and replace is something we've all been hearing a lot lately. Repeal is pretty cut and dry for what you have to do to repeal it. That's step one. Replace is going to be a little more complicated. So how do you want to see it change? What do you want your insurance to cover? Of course, we all want our premiums to go down. I think that's universal. But that's where we'd love to get your ideas, and we're excited to share them with the people who are going to be making these decisions. So I don't know, I feel like we're nationally holding our breath for, okay, what's this going to be when we inaugurate the new president and his new appointees, his nominees?
Yeah. All right. So I think this is this good for you?
Yeah, this is a roundup of this week. Of course, this is just the highlights, so go on over to StandUnited.org and you can get a full picture of what we've been up to and even submit your own petitions.
And then just keep an eye out for alerts on when we'll be going live next week. We might be doing it a little differently, so we will keep you in the loop. Thanks for tuning in.